A pale orange disk hangs in the eyepiece. Across its surface, thin dark lines seem to stretch from one region to another. They are faint, fragile, easy to miss. Yet to the astronomers studying Mars in the late 19th century, those lines appear surprisingly organized. Not random markings, not scattered shadows. A system. And if they are a system, there is an obvious question. Who built it? The maps begin simply. A few lines here, a few lines there. Each return to Mars adds another thread to the growing network. The planet starts to look less like a distant world and more like a place shaped by intention. The markings seem too orderly, too connected, too straight. The possibility is difficult to ignore. Perhaps Mars is inhabited. Perhaps an advanced civilization has engineered a planet-wide canal system to move precious water across a drying world. The idea sounds extraordinary, but the maps are sitting right there on the table. Visible, drawn by respected observers. And with every favorable opposition of Mars, the picture appears to gain detail. The lines are no longer isolated features. They are becoming structure. One observer becomes particularly captivated. Percival Lowell. A wealthy American astronomer convinced that Mars may be home to intelligent life. In northern Arizona, beneath dark skies, he establishes an observatory dedicated largely to studying the red planet. Night after night, Mars returns to the eyepiece. The disk remains tiny, never more than a distant world seen through a turbulent ocean of Earth's atmosphere. Yet Lowell and others continue tracing lines across its surface. Maps spread outward. The network grows denser. What began as scattered markings now resembles an immense planetary design. The canal maps become increasingly elaborate. Lines intersect. Regions connect. Entire patterns emerge. The evidence appears to be strengthening. A civilization explanation no longer feels like wild speculation. It feels like a serious possibility. If a dying planet needed water, canals would make sense. If intelligent beings were struggling to survive, massive engineering projects would make sense. And every new map seems to push the idea further. The remarkable thing is not that people believe it. The remarkable thing is that the maps appear to justify belief. Look at Mars through the logic of the time, and the story feels coherent. The canals explain the patterns. The patterns support the canals. The evidence and the explanation reinforce one another. Confidence expands. Yet something strange is happening beneath the surface. The maps are multiplying. The certainty is growing, but clarity is not. Observers begin comparing their records. The planet they describe is not always the same planet. One astronomer reports canals that another cannot find. Some lines appear in one sketch and vanish from another. Certain features seem stable. Others drift from map to map. The disagreements are subtle at first, easy to dismiss. After all, Mars is difficult to observe. The image trembles. Atmospheric distortion constantly reshapes the view. Tiny details appear and disappear in fractions of a second. Surely a few inconsistencies are expected. Yet the contradictions do not fade. They accumulate. The canal maps continue growing more detailed, but agreement does not grow with them. Instead, different observers begin producing different realities. A curious pressure enters the story. If the canals are real structures on Mars, better observation should settle the matter. Sharper views should strengthen the evidence. Improved instruments should produce greater agreement. Reality should converge. Instead, it begins to split. The canal maps remain persuasive, but they are becoming increasingly difficult to reproduce consistently. The strongest evidence seems to exist precisely where observation is weakest. A faint line glimpsed at the edge of visibility becomes a canal. A suggestion of structure becomes a connection. A connection becomes part of a network. And the network becomes evidence for a civilization. The process feels solid while it is happening. Yet something refuses to fit. Then the telescopes improve. Lenses become better. Techniques become better. Observers gain access to clearer views than earlier generations could achieve. The expectation is obvious. The canals should finally emerge in undeniable detail. This is the moment the hypothesis has been waiting for. Instead, the opposite happens. As Mars becomes sharper, the canals begin disappearing. Features once drawn as long geometric lines break apart into irregular patches and natural terrain. Straight connections dissolve. Networks unravel. The planet grows more detailed. The evidence grows weaker. The contradiction is impossible to ignore. For decades, observers had been adding canals to Mars. Now improved observation is taking them away. One of the most influential challenges comes from astronomers who study Mars under exceptionally steady viewing conditions. Their sketches reveal a far messier world. Dark regions remain. Surface markings remain. But the elegant planetary grid does not survive. The more clearly Mars is seen, the less it resembles the maps that inspired the civilization hypothesis. The canal network begins a slow collapse. Not through scandal, not through fraud, not through conspiracy, through observation. The same process that seemed to support the idea eventually dismantles it. By the time spacecraft finally reach Mars in the 20th century, the outcome becomes unavoidable. Cameras look down on the planet from close range. Valleys appear. Craters appear. Volcanoes appear. Ancient river channels appear. But the famous canal system is nowhere to be found. The vast network that once stretched across countless maps has vanished. Return to those early drawings now. Look at the thin lines crossing the faint disk. Then look at modern images of Mars. The transformation is startling. Each return reveals less certainty than before. The canals begin as evidence of intelligence. Then they become evidence of disagreement. Then evidence of limitation. Finally, they become evidence of something else entirely. The story started on Mars. It ends much closer to home. Those astronomers were not careless observers staring at obvious illusions. They were skilled people working at the very edge of what their instruments and eyes could resolve. They were trying to identify a face through fog from hundreds of feet away. The human brain is built to find patterns, to connect fragments, to transform uncertainty into meaning. Most of the time, that ability is useful. Sometimes it creates structure where none exists. The canal maps remain one of the most famous examples. A record of evidence that seemed to grow stronger as confidence increased, then vanished as reality came into focus. In the beginning, the lines appeared to reveal a civilization on Mars. In the end, they revealed something about the observers themselves. the canals disappeared. The lesson did not